Tonight, breaking news, Sydney's lockdown continues ahead of a new working week as cases continue to rise. New restrictions now in place as the New South Wales government faces heavy criticism amid question over what businesses are really essential. It's Sunday the 18th of July. You're watching 6 News also tonight.
It is essentially a repeat of the successful strategy from just a couple of weeks ago. That was successful then. This will be successful now, and in anticipation of the great work that I know every Victorian will do, I'm very, very grateful.
Victorians now in the midst of their 5th lockdown as thousands of students get ready for more remote learning. We'll have the latest on exposure sites in both metro and regional areas. And later, a story that will send shockwaves through every Australian household. A 2-month special investigation featuring the exclusive explosive confessions of 3 teenage drug users, providing a rare insight into the crisis gripping an increasing number of young people.
I moved to a school where it's very strict, and I just couldn't handle that. So I was like, Dad does it, so I'm gonna do it now.
Good evening, it's nice to be back here in our Melbourne studio. Thanks very much for tuning in. Make sure you do stay tuned for that exclusive special 2-month investigation from our very own Connor 4K. It's something you will not see anywhere else, and you really do not want to miss it. But first tonight, Sydney's lockdown is still continuing. Over 7 days after it was set to end, ahead of a new week of working at home for millions of people. The New South Wales government is now facing heavy criticism amid questions about what businesses are really essential and why places like IKEA have remained open for days. Authorities are stressing the need to stay at home to keep the spread of the virus down, but that hasn't reduced fears of an even longer lockdown that could go all through August and even further than that, with tighter restrictions coming into effect overnight. Reporter Lincoln Holmes begins our special coverage.
Good morning, everybody.
It's been well over a week since Sydney's lockdown was set to end, and restrictions have just gotten a lot tighter. At midnight last night, carpooling between people not from the same household was banned, and non-essential retail stores were forced to close, though places like supermarkets, bakeries and post offices can remain open.
What we need is for everybody to follow the rules that are in place. The biggest challenge we have is lack of compliance, and that might be because people are complacent and don't think this is serious.
In the Fairfield, Canterbury, Bankstown and Liverpool local government areas, residents are not allowed to leave for work unless they work in healthcare or are an emergency service worker. Dozens of trucks stopped on the Sydney Harbour Bridge yesterday afternoon to call for transport workers to be deemed essential after the shutdown on construction. Outspoken British celebrity Katie Hopkins is in Sydney, where she branded the restrictions BS and claimed she was deliberately trying to break hotel quarantine rules.
As someone knocks on the door, I'm trying to get to the door and spring it open and frighten the shit out of them and do it naked with no face mask. And what I'm asked after is I want the sergeant in the foyer to come up and tell me off so that I can stand there naked while he tells me off.
It's been rumoured that she's been flown to Australia to compete in Channel 7's Big Brother, along with California Governor candidate Caitlyn Jenner. The lockdown has been extended until the end of this month, but some experts have claimed it could continue next month and even after August if the number of cases and deaths continue to rise. Lincoln Holmes, 6 News.
The number of COVID patients in New South Wales hospitals has reached its highest level since early last year. And just a warning, this next clip from the ABC may be disturbing for some viewers. This is the first time cameras have been allowed inside a functioning Sydney COVID ward, showing people fighting for their lives. Experts warn that the Delta variant may cause even more people to be forced to rely on a ventilator to live, including many people under 50. New data shows that 1 in 8 unvaccinated COVID patients end up in hospital, according to the ABC. Interstate Victorians are now in the midst of something they've done so many times before, their 5th coronavirus lockdown has concern about fleeting transmission with exposure sites listed in both metro and regional areas, and authorities confirming a child under 10 was among several people to have picked up the virus at the MCG last week. Thousands of students will be learning from home tomorrow in just the second week of the state's third school term, and millions will also be working from home. Senior reporter W. Travers has the latest developments.
Victoria has recorded 16 new locally acquired COVID-19 cases overnight, all of which are linked to current outbreaks, as well as the 2 acquired overseas that are currently in hotel quarantine. The Department of Health says close to 17,000 vaccine doses were administered yesterday, and over 53,000 test results were received. The list of exposure sites in both metro and regional areas is continuing to grow, with Phillip Island residents especially being urged to get tested after dozens of exposure sites were listed there. 2 major stadiums are also of concern, with the MCG and Amy Park being linked to a number of those cases. It's the state's 5th coronavirus lockdown since the pandemic began, and the 3rd this year. But Premier Dan Andrews has made it clear that it's necessary.
It is essentially a repeat of the successful strategy from just a couple of weeks ago. That was successful then, this will be successful now, and in anticipation of the great work that I know every Victorian will do, I'm very, very grateful. We would prefer that this had not come to our state. We would prefer that we didn't have to deal with these issues, but this is so infectious. This is such a challenge that we must do this. You only get one chance to go hard and go fast. If you wait, if you hesitate, if you doubt, then you will always be looking back wishing you had done more earlier. I am not prepared to avoid a 5-day lockdown now only to find ourselves in a 5-week or a 5-month lockdown. That's why we're making this very difficult decision. And it's why I know Victorians will, despite the pain and the difficulty of this, know and understand that there is no option. What's more, they'll know and understand that they each have an important part to play in the success of this lockdown.
And while many people are set to have another week of working from home, thousands of school students are also going to be learning from home in just the second week of the state's school term.
And of course, we always want to know what you think about this current situation. Please have your say by using hashtag 6newsau in the comments below, or email us, contact@6newsau.com. To other news tonight, and over 130 people have been confirmed dead in some of the worst floods seen in Europe in years. West Germany and Belgium are the worst areas hit, while nearby countries like France have also seen torrential rain. Terrifying video of the moment a barge sunk in a flooded river has been posted onto social media, with the army now sent in for almost half of Belgium's provinces which require help. It's been reported that the cost of the damage may already be billions of euros, authorities saying the death toll is likely to rise as emergency services continue to search affected areas for people who may be trapped. Overseas, 2 men have been charged over an alleged plot to bomb the Democratic Party headquarters in California. The ABC reports 45-year-old Ian Benjamin Rogers and 37-year-old Jared Copeland started plotting the attack after last year's presidential election and have been accused of trying to recruit members of the Proud Boys for it. Authorities have now seized a stockpile of weapons involved in the alleged planning, including up to 50 firearms from one of their properties. Anti-government protests in Cuba are right now continuing, with the demonstrations being described as some of the largest since the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 1990s. Internet is slowly being restored to a number of regions after thousands protested food, vaccine and medicine shortages. President Joe Biden has called the country a failed state that is repressing its citizens and says America would offer aid if he had assurances about the regime. Indonesian authorities have pleaded for more oxygen tanks as COVID case numbers continue to rise right across the country. The situation has been dubbed a worst case scenario, with both daily infection rates and daily death rates surging, even passing India and Brazil in new cases. But according to the Sydney Morning Herald, some public health experts estimate the real number of cases of the virus to be much larger. Indonesia's government also wants 4 times the amount of daily tests than what is currently happening to be reported in the next few days. Well, we may not have big budgets, decades of experience, or the chance to always interview high-profile newsmakers, but as young journalists, what we do have is the unique ability to connect with people our own age and share their often undertold stories. And that's exactly what we're doing tonight. In this 6 News exclusive investigation, Chief Reporter Connor 4K goes inside the teenage substance abuse crisis. Tonight, you'll be meeting 3 teenage drug users who, in spite of the risks and the shame, are speaking out to expose a scourge so pervasive and chillingly easy to fall into. And we do warn you, some viewers may find details in this report distressing.
I'm high right now. I smoke all the time. I'm always high. That's my medicine. That's what keeps me calm, down to earth, and be able to function properly. So I had a couple of bongs before I came here.
They don't care that it's killing them.
I hope I wasn't cutting in too much.
Because without it, they say they'd already be dead.
Do you reckon without drugs that you'd be here right now?
No. Pardon?
I wouldn't be on Earth, to be honest.
Yeah, I 100% know that I'd be dead without them right now.
These users are high functioning, frequently high, and all under 18. They want to flip the script.
It makes me a better person.
Tonight, a rare glimpse into the substance abuse crisis gripping Australian teenagers.
I did Molly pills, which are like MDMA and ketamine mixed together, to mushrooms, acid, coke.
How long have you been clean for?
This morning?
And you went to school today?
Yeah.
Even if you're under 18, getting your hands on illicit substances is easy. Too easy, they tell me. All you have to do is ask a friend. Thank you. Fire off a text message. This is a legitimate conversation between dealer and user. Or for vapes and cigarettes, head down to select convenience stores.
They don't always ID, which is a problem. A lot of kids will go up and they'll just buy them.
I'm on the phone to a Brisbane convenience store after receiving a tip-off it sells disposable nicotine vapes. It's illegal to do so in all Australian states.
Hello?
Oh, hey mate, I'm in the area. Do you guys have any disposables or anything like that?
Vape?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. We sell in the cash at $20, card $25.
Do many teens go in and get it?
E-cigarettes made mainstream by social media come in a range of fruity flavours. They're easy to hide and highly popular among teens. Tossed onto the footpath like a cigarette, I found this one opposite a Brisbane private school. Schools have become ground zero for the substance abuse crisis, from drug deals at lunchtime to vaping inside toilets and in classrooms. But if you ask the Queensland Education Department, apparently, it's not their problem. A spokesperson for the Queensland Education Department said in a statement, Queensland state schools deliver the Australian curriculum, adding parents have the primary role of educating young people about the risks of drug and alcohol abuse. It seems some parents are teaching their kids, just not good habits.
My parents are very heavy drinkers, especially my dad. So I started when I graduated primary school, I reckon, because moving schools, I had lots of anxiety as a kid, and so I moved to a school where it's very strict, and I just couldn't handle that. So I was like, Dad does it, so I'm gonna do it now.
No, my mum is an absolutely amazing person who's tried her best, and I'm more ashamed of being her son because of who I am. That's how brave a person she is.
The shame and stigma attached to illicit substances, these users say, hides a sad reality.
And you know, once you start and you get that bit of happiness, it's just hard to let that go if you're not getting that happiness from other places. It gives you something to look forward to, you know.
They're calling for legalisation and better regulation
To cope with stuff that you can't cope with normally.
and ensure it's safe for everyone.
And the issue of adolescent vaping has gotten so out of hand that from October a prescription will be required to purchase nicotine e-cigarettes. The TGA hopes that will stop adolescents from taking up vaping. They also want to ensure that cigarette smokers continue to use vapes as a mechanism to quit. If you're anyone you know does need help, Lifeline is available 24/7 at 13 11 14. And of course, we do want to know what you think of this story. Join the conversation in the comments below by using hashtag 6newsau or email us contact@6newsau.com. Now, on a bit of a lighter note, a list of new emojis has been released and they're certainly sparking a conversation. Here they are. They include a melting face, a saluting face, beans, a pregnant man and a pregnant person. We've also got a slide, an ID, an X-ray, lip biting and multiracial handshakes. Now, the emojis will be finalised in September and then tweaked to Apple's style if they are fully approved, and then will likely be rolled out sometime in early 2022. One notable absence is the pink heart emoji. We have full coloured hearts for almost every colour you can imagine except for pink. There are a lot of variations and a petition's even been set up, but maybe 2023 then. Meanwhile, cricketing legend Shane Warne has fallen victim to a prank on Twitter. Journalist Cam Wilson tagged Warne in a post saying, quote, "My uncle is in hospital with COVID and he's a really big fan of yours. Can you give him a shout out?" Well, Warne actually did, tweeting to Cam's supposed uncle that his friends and family are all with you. The only problem, that's actually the Brazilian president, Jair Bolsonaro. Now, it's not the first time a high-profile celebrity has fallen victim to such a prank. A few years ago, rapper Flavor Flav was tricked into giving disgraced Cardinal George Pell a shout-out for his quote-unquote retirement via the Cameo website. And now it's Ivan and Sarah with a look what's coming up later tonight on WAMN News.
Thanks, Leo. Coming up on WAMN News, $5 billion question, an exclusive WAMN News poll underway on your priorities for the looming state budget.
Bringing back trust, calls for diversity in the WA Police to break down barriers with the multicultural community.
A man charged over the devastating Rural Loop bushfires earlier this year.
Bombing, burning and stabbing as a tow truck turf war sparks violence. Plus, Dr. Andrew Miller's comment. Join us tonight on the WAMN News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Right, thanks to both Ivan and Sarah there. Now tomorrow's forecast right across the country. Brisbane sunny, a top of 21, 15 in Sydney, 9 degrees in the nation's capital, 14 in Melbourne, 12 in Hobart, heavy rain and also 14 in Adelaide, 23 in Alice Springs, 18 in Perth, and in Darwin a warm top of 33. And finally tonight, just a quick announcement. We are proud to announce that Press Gallery will be launching this Thursday at 9 a.m. Sydney time. Now, for those of you who don't know, Press Gallery is a show made for you, made for the viewers, focused on unbiased political reporting and hosted by our very own Christian Penny. Now, we really want to showcase your feedback right throughout the program, so please join the conversation by using either hashtag 6newsau in the comments section, or you can actually email us if you've got longer feedback. That is contact@6newsau.com. Again, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so that is 7 a.m. for those of you in the West. And of course, you can catch up anytime on our YouTube channel. Just search 6 News Australia to find it. And that is 6 News for this Sunday evening. You can stay up to date with the latest headlines by heading to our website, 6newsau.com, and following us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Leeds. Just search 6 News AU to find us. I'm Leonardo Puglisi. Thanks for your company. Good night.